Hello and welcome back to another GiantSlayerTV video. Today we'll be doing part 2 of our Set 7 champion review. We've already covered the first half of the champion, so be sure to check out that video as well. Not much to discuss beforehand, so let's just dive right on in. Kicking off the list, we have the first of the O champions, Olaf. Olaf is a 3-cost champion with the synergy Scale Scorn, Bruiser, and Warrior. His passive ability increases his attack damage whenever he dies. Additionally, he deals a bit of extra damage and gains attack speed that increases at lower health. Olaf is definitely meant to be a melee carry for this set, with so much of his kit aiding him in that regard. Ornn is returning, though it often feels like he never left, considering Ornn items are still a thing thanks to augments. This time around, Ornn is a 4-cost Bruiser, Tempest, and Legend champion. There really are so many 3 synergy champions, and Ornn is a Bruiser with 3 synergies. Didn't we all agree that those were a tad bit overpowered? In any case, Ornn is one of the stable frontliners of the set as he summons a ram that stuns people when he knocks it towards them. Moving on, we have Pyke. Pyke is a 5-cost assassin and whisper champion with a reset ability that can execute. He will cast on the lowest health enemy, dealing damage and applying grievous wounds if they don't die. If they are below a certain amount of health, they are instantly killed, and Pyke casts again on the next low health target. Reset abilities with executes can be awful to balance, so hopefully they keep a tight leash on how good Pyke is in this set. Qiyana is also an assassin champion, but is only a 2-cost with the secondary synergy Tempest. What's great about Qiyana is her AI, as she always tries to cast in the most advantageous position to hit multiple enemies with her ability. This ability does some damage, but more importantly, disarms them. Having Tempest as a synergy and a solid CC for her ability, Qiyana may be a common splash champion. Up next is Ryze, a 3-cost champion with the synergies Guild and Mage. Ryze is unique in his ability costs extra mana every time he casts, but that's not a bad thing because the damage is based on his max mana. Naturally, this means Ryze is meant to scale in a fight. Balance is currently an issue with his effectiveness, but theoretically, he should be a scaling AP carry. Now we can get into the exhausting list of S champions. Buckle in because there's a lot of them, starting with Sejuani. Sejuani is returning this time as a 1-cost Guild and Cavalier champion. Her ability does a bit of damage and does a minor stun, which makes her a decent early game champ. The guild buff she provides is bonus health, so that plus Cavalier makes her one of the tankier stage 2 champs. Senna is back, but quite different from how she played in Set 6. She's now a 1-cost champion with the synergies Rage Wing and Cannoneer. Her ability is aimed towards the furthest unit, though it does damage to the first unit it hits. This damage is mixed between physical and magic with a small AoE, so nothing special. Senna looks to be one of the better early game item holders for AD items and has the potential in reroll comps. Another Rage Wing champion is Sett. Sett is a 2-cost unit with a secondary synergy being Dragonmancer. His ability is a bit of a mix of frontline and damage, as his ability buffs his armor and magic resist for a few seconds, while his punches deal extra damage. It's hard to say what role Sett is meant to fill because his damage is lacking unless you commit to rerolling in, but he's also not survivable enough to tank past stage 2. Apparently, S is a popular starting letter for Rage Wing champions, as Shen is also a Rage Wing unit. In addition to that, he's a 2-cost unit with his other traits being Bruiser and Warrior. Yes, we're doubling down on Bruisers with triple synergies. As for Shen's ability, he makes a small zone around him that gives allied units dodge chance that also boosts Shen's magic resist. Unlike Sett, Shen looks to be an actual frontliner between his ability and being a Bruiser. Our first dragon of today is Xiaoyu. This is an 8-cost dragon with the other synergies being Mystic and Jade. Jade is Xiaoyu's +3 trait, which means overall this dragon is very defensive in regards to their synergies. But their ability makes them more of a damage dealer as they enter Jade form, which reduces damage taken, immunity to crowd control, and empowers their next 3 attacks in various ways. Essentially there if Galio from Set 6 was designed out of the gate with the Clapio build in mind. From an 8-cost dragon, we go to a 10-cost dragon, Shyvana. Shyvana provides +3 to Rage Wing with her 3rd synergy being Shapeshifter. Being a Shapeshifter, Shyvana transforms into a dragon and dive bombs the enemy team, becoming untargetable. When she lands, she deals magic damage and stuns in an AoE. After all of that, anytime Shyvana casts, she does a breath attack that does percentage of the enemy's maximum health. There's a lot to unpack with Shyvana, but she's basically a mix between frontline CC and damage, making her a must-have for any Shapeshifter or Rage Wing comp. Let's scale it back a bit to a 1-cost champion, Skarner. Skarner is a Bruiser and Astral champion that gains his shield and bonus attack speed when casting his ability. Nice and simple, Skarner is an effective stage 2 frontliner and will likely see quite a few Skarner 3s because of the Astral trait. Up next, we've got Sona. Sona is a 4-cost champion with the synergies Revel and Evoker. Her ability sends out a wave towards the furthest enemy that deals magic damage and stuns. In theory, Sona should be a viable 4-cost AP carry when you consider her whole kit, but she also may just end up being a utility unit like Seraphine. Which way they balance her will determine her role in the end. Speaking of utility, one of the best splash champions in the entire set with a ton of utility is Soraka. Soraka is a 5-cost Jade and Starcaller champion. Starcaller is the unique trait for Soraka, which basically heals your own health pool by a small amount each round. Her actual ability calls down a shower of stars that heal allied champions over the course of a few seconds. Overall, Soraka is a lot like Bard in that most late game boards can use her effectively. The only Monka-esque thing to consider for Soraka is that she can potentially increase the game's length due to Starcaller healing actual health, though that may not matter outside of Soraka 3. Swain has been terrorizing the PvE as a 3-cost champion with the synergies Ragewing, Dragonmancer, and Shapeshifter. The reason for this is that Swain deals a lot of damage when transformed, as his auto attacks are replaced by fireballs that deal bonus magic damage, and his ability throws out an AoE fireball. Essentially, he's an AP auto attack carry with a lot of health thanks to Shapeshifter Dragonmancer and a built-in Omni Vamp from Ragewing. For 3-cost champion, his kit does feel a bit overloaded. Apparently, dragons love S as the starting letter for their names. Shi-O-U, Shyvana, Smog, and now Syfen. Syfen is an 8-cost dragon with Whispers and Bruiser as their other synergies. Whispers is the trait they give +3 to. As for their ability, Syfen charges towards the furthest enemy within 2 hexes. While charging, an enemy hit is knocked up and takes a bit of damage. After the charge ends, Syfen then bites an enemy that deals a sizable amount of physical damage in addition to ignoring 50% of their armor. Syfen has a lot of potential as a carry because of the scaling from Whispers and the massive damage their bite does, but is meant to be a frontline for Whispers in general, so their role is a bit muddled. Finally, the final S champion is Sylas. Sylas is a 2-cost champion with Whispers, Bruisers, and Mage as their 3 synergies. Again with the 3 synergy Bruiser champions? Anyway, when Sylas casts his ability, he does a small AoE that does damage and applies Mana Reave to enemies hit. When Sylas casts again and hits a Mana Reave champion, he gains a shield. Essentially, Sylas is a souped-up version of Cassidy from Set 6. More than likely, he'll be a frontliner for mages, though he may not be survivable enough to do so. Next up, we have Tahm Kench. They've definitely benched the Kench as he's now a 1-cost champion with the synergies Revel and Bruiser. For his ability, he gains a shield based on his maximum health, and enemies that hit him take a bit of damage. Relatively underwhelming overall, but an effective Stage 2 frontliner nonetheless. Talon is also returning, but this time as a 4-cost assassin and guild champion. For his ability, Talon throws out a ring of blades while stealthing for a few seconds. The blades deal some damage, and then again when he attacks an enemy as the blades come back to Talon. That attack also deals bonus physical damage to the target. Overall, nothing too fancy here, as Talon is just an attack damage assassin. More than likely one of the carries for assassin, though time will tell on that. Taric is a bit disappointing as he's a 1-cost champion with the synergies Jade and Guardian. Jade is definitely useful, but Guardian feels quite lackluster, and Taric's ability doesn't seem that much better, as all he does is increase the armor of himself and another ally for a few seconds. Definitely one of the least interesting units of the set. We know everyone is thrilled to have a hook champion back, as Thresh is here as a 2-cost Guardian and Whisper champion. As we said, Thresh's ability is a hook that pulls the furthest enemy towards him and deals magic damage. Unlike Blitzcrank, the hook doesn't take them all the way to Thresh, but any carry in the corner hit by it will be severely out of position, so it always needs to be scouted for. Returning once again as the 2-cost champion is Tristana. Tristana's synergies are Trainer and Cannoneer. Her ability applies a bomb on 2 units and then explodes, dealing a bit of magic damage on the main target and a physical damage in an AoE. Cannoneer likely means Tristana will have a place in the early game as an item holder, though Trainer may make her more common for any composition using Namzi. The final T champion is Twitch. Twitch is now a 2-cost unit with the synergies Guild and Swift Shot. His ability is quite good as he does a small AoE that deals physical damage, but more importantly, it reduces their armor. It's tough to say if Twitch carrying is a thing or not, but he does bring good utility with the armor reduction and the attack speed bonus from the Guild synergy. Varus is a 3-cost Astral and Swift Shot champion that deals physical damage to the main target of his ability and stuns them briefly. Then it spreads to other champions nearby, dealing magic damage and also stunning them. With a decent ability, a reroll synergy, and inherently scaling from Swift Shot, Varus is likely to be a reroll champion. Up next, we have Vladimir, a 1-cost Astral and Mage champ. Vlad is super simple as his ability does damage and heals him. Being a mage that heals, we may see him be used as a pseudo frontliner, and with Astral, he'll likely be 3-starred quite often. Volibear is a 3-cost champion with the synergies Dragonmancer, Legend, and Shimmer Scale. This is one terrifying bear as his ability empowers him with bonus health and adding bonus magic damage that can bounce every 3rd auto attack. Basically, Volibear has a ton of ways to become empowered because of his ability, Legend, and Dragonmancer, making him a solid 3-cost carry. Xayah is back as a 4-cost carry with the synergies Ragewing and Swift Shot. As for her ability, she throws out feathers that she pulls back after a few seconds, dealing physical damage to enemies hit by them. More than likely, Xayah will be a staple AD carry for the set, as both Rage Wing and Swift Shot enable her to deal out a lot of damage. Back to TFT once again is Yasuo. Yasuo is a 5-cost champion with the synergies Dragonmancer, Mirage, and Warrior. Yep, a 5-cost of 3 synergies that can all aid him in carrying. Kinda scary, isn't it? His ability is also a bit overloaded as he dashes around, and the third dash then knocks up enemies, stunning them and dealing additional damage. On top of all of that, if one of the enemies remains and Yasuo is alive, he insta-kills the unit. Apparently, we haven't learned about adding insta-win abilities, but hey, here we are. Where there's a Yasuo, there must be his brother Yone as well. Yone is a 2-cost champion with the synergies Mirage and Warrior. Yone is much simpler in design, as his attacks alternate between dealing bonus magic damage or physical damage. Nothing special, but depending on the Mirage trait, Yone can definitely be used as a carry. And the final champion we have for today's preview is Zoe. Zoe is a 5-cost champion with the synergy Simmer Scale, Mage, and Spell Thief. Spell Thief is a unique trait for Zoe, which basically gives her a random spell every cast. This is from a pool of special spells like Janus Tornado or Summoning Daisy. It's random which will be cast, though you will know the first spell at the beginning of combat. Definitely an interesting champion, but maybe not the most reliable as a carry, and instead is likely to be used for utility. And that's all for today, folks. Overall, Set 7 looks to have a lot of interesting champions, and the dragons definitely add a unique flavor. There is a concern about so many units having 3 synergies because, sheesh, there sure are a lot of them. Let us know in the comment section below what your favorite champion is from Dragonlands. Remember to check out the GiantSlayer TFT socials in the description below to keep up to date with any news, shows, and other content. Thank you for watching, and if you're enjoying our content, be sure to click the button and subscribe to your GiantSlayer TFT videos.